Welcome to the World of Dance After Show. We are so excited to have the winners of the Season 2 World of Dance. The champions are here, the lab. Let's get started.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, 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 ooh. You guys are amazing. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
The champions of World of Dance Season 2. We're so happy to see you guys, and we can't wait to hear what you guys are doing. Okay, so we have Valerie Ramirez, the owner and creative director of the lab, and we also have Victoria Little Sweets Hernandez, and we have Logan here. We're so excited to have you here. Okay, you guys, are you pinching yourselves? How does this feel? Also, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Valerie. Oh my God, what a great birthday.
I know, right? Great. This is like the perfect time to celebrate.
Can you believe it? Are you
it's
guys
crazy.
still pinching yourselves? How do you feel?
Absolutely. I'll let you guys answer that.
I'm definitely still pinching myself. Like, people are still, like, congratulating us, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is real. Like, the more you get those, like, congratulations, I'm like, whoa, like,
Right?
it, like, it's real. Like, no, it's just crazy.
Totally.
Yeah, when it was actually happening back when we were taping it, all I remember is just crying and collapsing onto the floor. And then I just remember the whole journey was just like all the memories in my head. I could just remember everything leading up to the win, and it was, just an unforgettable moment for us.
Amazing. And now everybody knows who you are. Some celebrities know who you are now. Young dancers look up to you guys. How do you feel about that? That's a big deal.
Yeah, I think, our biggest thing just as a whole and as for like the lab and also as individuals, all we strive to do is to inspire others, really. Yes, do what we love, but also encourage others to do what they love as well. So to know that celebrities like J-Lo commenting on our last performance, being inspired by that, and other young dancers coming up to us wanting pictures, just that alone is just surreal to us, and knowing that we're actually able to spread the message that we want.
That's amazing. Have you guys heard from a lot of people?
Yes.
Yeah, the
We get
outpour.
a lot, outpour. We get a lot of, like, DMs, or we get a lot of comments, like, just crazy stories. Like, people are, like, once they were in, like, a dark place, and, like, now they're, like, seeing us and, like, kids dancing and using it as a healing process. It's like, now they know that they can, like, do that too, and they're not, like, scared, or just hearing, like, little kids, like 7-year-olds and 6-year-olds, like, we love you guys, and, like, I want to dance, and it's just crazy because, like, that's our whole goal, and, like, to actually see it, like, play out in front of us is, like, really cool.
That's amazing. And Valerie, you must be so proud. I mean,
Extremely.
These girls are so well-spoken, and they're such great role models already. Is this what you set out to do when you originally started the lab?
I mean, I think just looking back to the purpose behind everything that we do and everything that drives our energy, it's about, spreading good and helping people find what they're about, what they're passionate about, what they love, and them returning that same cycle through. And so to hear them talk like this and know and be so aware of, like, who they are and what they want to be and how to help others, I mean, like, it feels like that in itself is the win, So it's kind of everything is just the celebration right now is more just on, like, who they're becoming as people and what they're able to accomplish. It's really been just like a beautiful journey.
Oh my God, I got chills.
Yeah.
So it's been about 10 years since you started. Did you ever see the lab becoming what it has become?
I think I've always dreamed. So the vision was always there, but the struggles definitely make you question, like, will it actually come through, But I think that when you want something bad enough, you start to just keep pushing aside the clouds, and you just keep fighting for something that you believe in. And I think that it's here today because I've had so much support. It's here today because there's so many people that have helped push it to where it's at. And that is what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the people that I met and the people that are in my life, helping push something that I'm so passionate about forward and believing in it so strongly.
Absolutely. Okay, so you guys are back for Season 2. So we saw you Season 1, and now you're back. Was it easy to make that decision about coming back?
That was a really big struggle because coming out of Season 1, the team was pretty defeated, and it took a minute for them to understand the importance of having those struggles and how they can actually help, get you on your way to something bigger and better. And once they were able to kind of get clear on what they wanted to do and what they were actually really wanting to accomplish, it was something that they used to motivate themselves. It was a benefit. It was leverage. It was like, hey, I felt it before. I've tasted it. I'm hungry for it now. And I think that going back to Season 2, they just needed to know that if you thought Season 1 was hard, you know, we didn't make it all the way. You got to do the math. It's going to be, you know, 1,000 times harder for us to make it through, and the strategy really has to come into play. So it was definitely something that we contemplated for a long time, but at the end of the day, the love and the want and the desire was in the right place, and that we knew that was enough to get us through something so crazy.
Right. And so you probably learned a lot too from watching season 1, and you added 5 members this year. So what was the biggest things you wanted to change or just kind of modify to make it work?
I think that there was a full strategy in place from, you know, the first week all the way to the finale. We knew going in, it wasn't something that you were going to be able to spring on yourself how you get better in 3 days. Like, you knew that going in, you needed to know how are you playing out from week 1 to week 6. It was a full game for us to know, like, we got to play our cards a certain specific way. So with the 15, you know, adding in people, you just kind of realize, like, what are you going to do to showcase something that's beyond what they've seen of us? You know, how do you come back bigger and better? How do you really play to the strengths of what the kids can do? And I think ultimately, as scary as it was switching gears and trying to, you know, enhance and add and take that risk, it was like the best one we ever took, because it paid off to be where not only do we extend our family, and we have 5 new members that are just, we're so fortunate to have in our family, but I feel that they were able to grow with us, and we were equally inspired on both ends to just take this all the way.
Yeah, and I think also going into season 2, we had to kind of take a different approach with each week. So we not only had to escalate each performance, but for example, week 3, I feel like that was the first emotional piece we did on World of Dance.
For sure.
And the great thing is, it was a very distinct message and a very important message that we wanted to spread. And so it still had meaning. We didn't just want to take a different approach just to get through the competition, but we wanted to take a different approach to spread that message as well. So it worked out very well, and we were able to do the same with week 4. We added props, we had a story, and then the last week we were able to spread that message as well.
I mean, you guys are just so cool. What are rehearsals like? Because rehearsals, I'm sure, are crazy. Or is it
You want my version or their version?
Is it a lot of trial and error? What's happening in these rehearsals?
There's definitely a lot of trial and error, but that's what makes it so awesome. Is like, I always say, like, failure is like the base for practice, and so like it's like really cool, like because like when you're in practice, like she's like asking us like, could you do this? And at first like, well, can I do that? And then like, I don't know, I'm just gonna try it. And like, it's like cool to see like us pushing ourselves during practice. And there is a lot of like, we do get frustrated, but then that's what the family's for. That's what like the team is for, and we all uplift each other. And like when one person's down, we're all down. So when one person's up, we gotta all be up. So then like we all like help each other and we all love on each other. So like practice is, I could just say, awesome.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah, it's very eventful, I'd say. Yeah. Because there are times where we'd want to give up, but like Sweet said, that's when we kind of come together and really strengthen our bond and lean on each other. But there are also times where we're on a high and we do something like crazy where a trick hits for the first time. And yeah, there are many, it's very eventful.
Their chemistry is so genuine. I think that's something that was like really easy to gravitate towards this season with them, is that there's just something that connected you to them. Just in looking at them, you felt a certain kind of vibe, and it's real. It's something that you can't make that stuff up, and you certainly can't force it. And it was one of the leverages we had going in, is just like it was enforced that you respect each other and you grow together and you lean on each other and you pick each other up. And I think that at first it might have been a task, but once they really, really started applying themselves in all areas, it was something that was so natural for them. I never had to remind them. Their work ethic and the way they treat each other, their conduct, all of that was so intact. I think just because they're genuine kids. You know, these are kids that are wanting to do good and they're wanting to please. They definitely don't like to disappoint, and it's demanding, it's grueling. I will say I'm probably one of the hardest person on them probably in their life, not just in training, but but I think that their respect for what they do and for what they want to be just exceeds any kind of like setback or frustration or and I just think that it was such a blessing to have their spirit and practice. Like as hard as it got, I never was over it. We were never like, gosh, I just want this to be over with. We're just like, what do we got to do to make it better? And it was just a really cool feeling to know everybody was in it, regardless of wanting to quit. It was just, that was like a quick moment of stress versus a moment of give up, you know?
Right, exactly. So. Well, you guys, I mean, I'm sure that they appreciate that, and you mean so much to so many of them. And I think what's so cool about the lab is you prepare them for the professional world.
Sure.
And I think that that's a really big thing that studios sometimes don't do.
Right.
So is that was that always your goal?
For sure. I think that the idea behind creating really brilliant dancers is really exciting, but I think the bigger picture for me is creating really successful people. And I think that dance is kind of the language we use right now to be successful with, but I believe that if they can get their skill sets intact and they can understand how to function and how to work through things and how to work with other people, how to measure up to certain expectations, how to show up on time, be disciplined, committed. I mean, they could choose dance, they could choose acting, they could choose running, it doesn't matter what they choose because they're equipped, you know, and
Absolutely.
I think that was like the focus all along is like, can we get you guys so ready for this and you love it? So then there's going to be a bonus, but just know that whatever you want to do in your life, it's going to take that type of work ethic to achieve anything you're trying to reach for. And so them understanding that, to me, that's the bigger win. We were able to utilize the show as something where we could test all those skills. For them to do it with the people they love, doing something that they're really passionate about was really amazing. But I know that it's given them now the confidence to realize there's a bigger picture for anything that I can dream of, you know?
Right, absolutely. What have you guys learned? What are the biggest things you've learned from working with Val?
For me personally, because I do want to open up my own studio one day. So I've been under the lab for about 5 years now, and it's awesome because I get to see how Val runs the studio and how she directs a team and how she leads a team. So I've learned a lot of leadership skills from Val. So that's like one thing that I always like have and carry with me. And then two, like going to the lab, you not just only go there to learn how to dance and be a good dancer, you also are learning how to be responsible, smart, loving like person in general, like in the world. And it's like she helps like equip you for all those challenges like that you're probably going to face in the next coming years of your life. So it's like really awesome.
Yeah, one important thing I've definitely learned from Val is being time efficient and making use of every single second that we have to get the job done. So I remember every time we were like in the car driving to lab from set, we would make sure we were listening to the music any chance that we could, not playing video games, making sure our mind is always in the right state, just so that the goal in mind, we know that we did everything we possibly could down to like the off time in the car or whatever. Yeah.
I love it. It's so productive. Was there a moment that you guys realized, wait a second, I think we could take it all the way this year? Was there a routine that you were like, or we're in rehearsal, were you like, this is gonna win, I think. I think we're gonna take it all the way.
We set out to win.
Right.
So the hopes of winning never really intimidated us, but we knew it wasn't gonna be handed.
Right.
So we knew we had enough ingredients to actually make it all the way. It was just, were we gonna use them? Were we gonna actually deliver? Were they gonna execute? Because they executed in the studio. Were they gonna do it on stage? Were they gonna do it when J-Lo was there? Were they gonna do it in the interview? There was a lot of factors in them being, where they were at, did they have enough personality with it? It wasn't just the dance, how did they interview and stuff like that. So I think that like there wasn't a specific routine that I felt like, oh, it's a done deal. There was just a moment of, I think, relief knowing that when they got to the finale that we had absolutely done everything we set out to do. So win or lose, I think we already felt really accomplished.
Amazing. What was the hardest routine for you guys? The most challenging?
Oh, personally, I thought our John Mayer set was the hardest because there were so many props. We had made it in like 3 days? 3 days?
Insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It was so risky. And there were still tricks. I have to give mad props to Trey because he had to literally like go from every moment
to every scene.
Yeah.
The whole piece. I would probably say like the John Mayer set too because, well, one, it was like such a big concept and it was like such a big message. So us like having to live up to that message and like going all in and being like 100 with it was definitely like a big thing for us. And then it was cool to see how it played out because right before we went on stage, we were already crying. And like the producers and people that were out there, like Jenna, they were like, you guys are already crying, like you guys haven't even went on. And like we were covered in tears.
Yeah.
And so I think that piece was like the most like memorable for me.
Yeah.
Amazing.
To add on to that, I remember when we were creating the set, the message that we were trying to give out, the specific like story, a lot of those things are what adults do. And so personally, as kids, we've never experienced being in the military, we never experienced being homeless. And so in order to really portray those characters in a mature way, we had to tap into something that we had experienced personally, whether it was whatever the case may be. We had to tap into our own feelings, and yeah, that was difficult because we had to make sure the message got out in the way that we wanted it to, and I thought it hit. Even though, I mean, there may have been like slight mess ups, but we were living in the moment, and yeah, we just enjoyed that.
It was amazing. And what an amazing, perfect finale routine. It was like the perfect like icing on the cake. It was amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, how did you feel the pressure, or you work well under pressure?
I felt the pressure long before the finale, but the time that we had created in was really, really stressful. Not to mention, it's not just the time, it's the balancing of their schoolwork as well as by that point, their bodies were really, really done, you know, and they had been pushed to their physical limits, like, and I'm pretty demanding on it. Like, I feel like I know how to push them, you know, okay, no, you have more. And that was probably one of the first times I've ever stopped myself and thought, I don't know that they have more, you know, and I kind of got a little nervous that they would run out. And I think they relied a lot on their love for one another to carry them through and make up for anything that they were lacking physically. It came through emotionally for them. But it was really crazy because I knew we wanted to go really emotional and meaningful with what we wanted to send. At the end of the day, we said, let's have a message, let's have a purpose. And I think that risk was so scary for them because, like she said, they didn't really understand the concept. And as they were going through it, it took like rounds and rounds and rounds for them to just connect to it. And then we had to go through each person and say, this is what we're trying to portray. It's like we're dancers, we're not actors. You know, though we can channel emotion and performance, it's a different thing when you're trying to tell a story for something at the world finale. And you also had, like, you know, 3 hours of sleep. So, you know, so it was a really difficult challenge. But at the end of the day, we always say, like, nobody really cares about your struggles. And we don't get, you know, a billboard that says, hey, side note, they had to go through all this to get here. It's at the end of the day, it's like, what are you willing to go through to make sure you can be on top? So,
yeah.
Nobody really knows this, but Popcorn, one of the members of the team, she came down. Yeah, that's her nickname. Ava. She came down with the flu. She had 102 fever, and we told her,
she had 104.
It was the day of the finale. She woke up with this fever. She was just miserable, and we were like, okay, like if you can't.
Trey was injured. You were injured.
Yeah,
and Popcorn had a fever.
And we were just like, okay, like, are you like good, girl? Like, and she was like sleeping on every single.
In between takes because she literally just couldn't stay awake. We were so freaked out that the way she pulled through was incredible. She's such a trooper. And it was funny because she was actually wearing a soldier's uniform. We're like, man, she really is. Even though one of the little boys, Aiden, had hit his head the night before on a trick. Kaya, the night before, fell off the bench. She fully cut her hand open. I mean, we're talking like down to like, it was like 10 o'clock at night. They had to be, their call time was like 5 in the morning, and we're fixing the routine, and these kids are like broken, you know, and it was just kind of like, I think that's what was so emotional for them too, is they knew they felt the struggle. So whether they knew what struggle they were portraying, they had struggle in their life that they were connecting to. And I think that helped push their emotion through in that last moment. It was just kind of like, just be in that sound and just absorb everything that's happening around you.
Right. So what does that pep talk sound like right before they go on stage?
That was crazy. Because I don't really cry too much, but I just felt like I kind of broke down, and it was kind of like, this is a long time coming, you know, like I feel like I've been at this, you know, I've been, you know, with the lab for 17 years, and it's been about 10 years to try to pursue the dream of like really winning a show like this. And and I felt like giving up so many times, and I'm so glad I didn't, because I think I just needed to be in this moment with these 15 kids, this creative team, this stage. It was like all perfect, coming to this end of like it was meant to be this way. I didn't win those ones because I was supposed to win this one, you know? And so it was like the pep talk was like, whatever you do, just know that like this equation is the most perfect situation I could have ever asked for, and like just be very proud of what you've done and how far you've made it. I feel like for each kid, they were just connecting to like, yeah, like whether I'm doing a trick or spinning or I have a front center spot, I made a difference in what this journey was. And I think they were really proud of who they were at that moment.
Yeah, that's amazing. What was it like for you guys? Were you nervous or were you just excited to get out there?
Oh man, by that point, because you're talking about the talk earlier that day, right?
Yeah, I think there was a couple pep talks. Yeah, that was a really long day. But I think the pep talk right before they went out was really just about them understanding, like, you have two choices. You can go out with the idea of loving what you do or the fear of not being perfect. And that's kind of a thing they lived by. Dietrich's kind of really made us understand the importance of choosing love in these situations where you want to give in to fear. And I think that they shout it out before they go on stage. They just shout out love or fear, and they all, you know, shout love. And I think in that moment they channel again, like, why are you here? Are you here to just be swallowed up? Or are you here to be exactly what you trained to be and exactly who you are? And I think that settles a lot of nerves immediately, so they can then be themselves and do it, you know, they work so hard for.
Yeah, I would say that day when we were performing both of our sets, that was probably one of the days where I wasn't as nervous, which is odd because it's the finale and you feel like you'd want to be have pressure on yourself. But I was like, okay, I'm like a little over emotional, but I was crying almost all day. When she started talking that morning, I was like crying, and I'd go in and out of just crying because I just realized, I know it's weird, but I just realized like this was like the last time we would be performing together on that stage, and with such a special routine that had been made for a special reason. Yeah, a lot of, I was just overjoyed. I wasn't nervous at all, actually. I was, if anything, just filled with love, most of all, for, everything.
That's amazing.
I was just really emotional. I was just crying, and usually I don't cry. I'm like the one to be like very like, okay, we gotta get things done, like, and stuff. But like, I don't know, I was just really relaxed about it and had a lot of peace with the team, and a lot of peace that like there was like a lot of love, like, or just like surrounding us, and we were just hugging each other and like crying on each other and loving, and it was just awesome.
Yeah. Do you think being on the team has changed your life and the way you see things?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, you were gonna go?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I think just being on the team again, like, has taught me like to love, and it's like a kind of like cliche thing, but like it's true because I'm the oldest, and so I'm around all the way from 8 years old to like myself, 17 and 16, and then around the creative team, and then around like all these people that are like supporters and fans and everything, and so like, I don't know, it's just taught me like everybody, like, this connects everybody, and like we all have to like love each other, and like dance is there for that reason, and like I'm in dance for that reason. So yeah,
I love it. Oh my god, so cute. What about you?
Just like what she was saying, I feel like I've learned so much from this experience. I feel like on this journey is probably the most growth I've seen in myself, because I feel like it was, not only was it like a time crunch and we had to really pull up, but what I've learned from everyone who has supported us, our directors, choreographers, my teammates, and just experiencing it, I feel like I've learned so much, not only making decisions out of love, but knowing that like you can go alone, but it's way better when you have people beside you to help you with it. And I feel like, that just makes a larger impact.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what's next for the lab? I mean, how do you go up from here? What are you guys working on right now?
It's kind of crazy because it feels like this type of accomplishment usually happens like at the peak of your career, right? Like you've worked so for me it probably is, but these guys, they're 8, they're 8, 10, 17, like they're just getting started. And so I think it's kind of a beautiful contrast of having my experience and just grinding for so long, and then them being able to come up and dedicate themselves exactly the way they need to their craft and to put in so much energy to something. I actually think it's the beginning for all of us now again. I feel like there was a rebirth of something that just feels like, wait, like there's another life out there, and I feel like us being able to pursue our dreams of being on the show and taking it all the way has given us an exceptional amount of confidence to say, like, what's next for us? Like, what do we want to do? We want to, you know, these kids want to travel. They want to perform. They want to take their careers teaching and, you know, new levels. And at the end of the day, it's to give back, to spread that energy, to make sure more people understand, like, put passion in your life. It changes things, you know, put hard work, put dedication to things. You'll get what you're setting out to get. And I think that's kind of our message through this, is to, like, now we have a little bit of leverage to be able to give back to our community and the people that have supported us and stood by us for years to get to this point. You know, it doesn't happen with one or two people. It doesn't happen just because you have talent. It happens because all those things are connecting and they're in the right place. So I think the next thing is just to push to new levels, whatever that might be. The training is in place right now, and we just want to make sure we're taking every moment we have really serious to make sure the energy is going towards being better.
Amazing. Well, and yeah, I guess we forget that there's prize money. It just seems like a big accomplishment to just get there.
Right.
So is there something that you're planning on doing with that?
Yeah, I think, you know, we had so many discussions with the kids about, like, that's a lot of money, and them recognizing and realizing, like, what is that? Because, you know, like, you have Aiden and AJ and Kea, they're like 8 and 10, and, you know, that's, they don't know how to count like that. Yeah. I mean, maybe Aiden does because he's like a math whiz. But, but it's something that, you know, when you have an 8-year-old to a 17-year-old understanding how to break down $1 million, you know, that's not the easiest thing to help us understand. And the flip side of that is we never did it for the money, you know? And so that was never our incentive going in. We're like, oh, we're going to win this money, you know, so we can get this crazy payday. It's just the intentions behind it were to fulfill our needs and our meaning of what we want to be and what we want to pursue, you know. And so the money was such a bonus for us. We're like, what can we do that's good? What can we do that makes sense for us? And, you know, of course there's going to be money that's dedicated to these 15 kids that can go back to their training. It can go back to something that makes sense for them to grow as artists and individuals and have that, the financial support to be able to do so. But then we've all decided that it makes so much sense for our community to benefit as well. And we want to give back. We want scholarships to be our #1 priority, where there are so many kids out there that could have these opportunities too if they had a little bit of support. And we know that there's situations that aren't allowing them to do so. So we really want this to be a source for people of comfort, where they can say, like, if I put in the time and the energy, there's going to be people that support us now. And I think they feel really proud that they have the ability to do that now, because we all want to help people, but sometimes it's not the easiest thing to just be able to say, this is paid for. But now for us to be able to be in a position where we can utilize what we've been blessed with for more good for more people, we feel really, really fortunate that we're in this position to do so.
That is so amazing. And you're so young. Oh my God. Okay, so we have some people in the chat room that are asking some questions. So let's see. Cool. So Tracy Johnson for Valerie, how much did you end up having to adjust the routines for the stage? It is kind of a crazy stage.
Well, they're made for the stage. So we taped out a circle. It's a circle stage. We got all the dimensions. We taped out the lines.
Oh my God, I love that.
So at our studio, yeah, we were like in crazy prep mode. We taped it all out so all the kids understood we were building for that place. So the transferring was a little bit more manageable, you know, because when you have something solid in studio, it doesn't mean it'll be solid on stage. There's an adjustment period. But we knew that going in, so we just made sure that everything was catered to making sense for the stage.
Amazing. Well, you guys would, you know, you guys would do something so detailed and amazing. Okay, so Ned's asked, did any of your concepts or song choices not get cleared by the network?
Yes.
Really? Okay. That happens. Clearance issues are...
We had about, per song, we had probably about 13 revisions.
Oh, wow.
That we created to, and I would say there is a minimum of 5 different options per week.
Wow.
A minimum.
Crazy.
It was crazy.
That's
because
tough
we had
for you guys to like...
They would say this has a 50% chance, this has an 80% chance. So you can't wait on the chance, you just keep creating to as much content as possible, and we try to build the library to stay prepared. But at the end of the day, it just came down to crossing your fingers, really.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so... Curiosity Heron. Sorry if I butchered that. For all, how was your relationship with the other acts on the show? As I know, the dance scene is very close and connected.
Okay, so everybody on the show, all the other contestants were super cool, and everybody was just so open with each other. Like, the first day walking onto set, it was like a really big party. Like, everybody was just introducing each other. We were just like, hey, hi, what's your name? Getting to know everybody, and we were really close to basically everybody, but because we were with the juniors more than the adults this like year, we were really close to, I feel like, the Cupcakes, Quad Squad, Sean and Casey.
Around them a lot.
We were around like they kind of had everybody in groups, and like we were just close to everybody, and so like it was awesome, like seeing the love that everybody had, and it was just super casual, like, hey, like, what's up, like, you know.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, and with S-Rank, we actually like come from the same dance community with like S-Rank, so we knew them even before the show, and we would take class with them, and some of them would come to the lab and we'd train wherever studios they would take class at. So yeah, we already knew S-Rank before the show.
Yeah, look at you guys. That's so amazing. Okay, so from Ned's again, did you guys ever feel burnt out once World of Dance finished?
No. Honestly, after the show, I wanted to
more.
Yeah. If anything, just re-inspired. Even if our bodies weren't 100, it was like going and researching and planning. Well, personally, I like to plan. So I was like planning, like, what am I going to do next with this time that I have?
She would.
So
she's
young.
like, she's crazy disciplined that way.
But yeah, I remember, I think a few of us actually had a job the next day.
Yeah, they
right?
did.
Oh my God, amazing.
There was like 6 of them that did. 3 of them had a video shoot for Skechers, and then
the day right after.
2 of them danced with NERD, Pharrell, on the Kids' Choice.
Yeah.
Aiden and Gio.
Oh my God.
So it was cool, but it was not really rest after. There was no kick your feet up yet. Yeah.
That is so amazing. Wow. Okay, do you guys have any fun stories? Like, were there any like funny memories? Anything happened behind the scenes?
I have one right now. There's a lot more, but okay. So, when we were doing week 3, no, was it week 3? No, it was the last week. It was Des.
Oh,
it was
last week 3. That's week.
Week 3? No, last week.
Yeah, last week.
So, in our John Mayer set, there's a part where everyone has to do like a dive roll across the stage while the bench is being pulled. And so we kept running it, you know, because we're drilling and getting into our bodies. And then one of our members, Destiny, she came up to Val and Dietrich and was like, "Is this normal?" She pulled up her shirt, and there was
it was like the size of this.
Yeah.
It was the size of this sticking like out of her back, and we're like,
oh no.
And we're like
trying not to freak out, and like she was like, yeah, that's like normal. She's like, I've seen a lot of those.
And
like,
she's like, no.
You know, we were like, I don't really flinch when they like cut themselves, get hurt, because I'm just like, it's part of the process, right? Not that I'm insensitive to their pain, but it's kind of like we know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But she literally had a growth like this on her back. I'm like, I just don't understand that. Like, how did that even happen? How are you like not like freaking out and in the hospital right now? But she was just like in tears. She's just like, I just didn't want to say anything. And, like, she's such a soldier, man. She was crazy.
My gosh.
Yeah, but there was like those weird moments where it's just like, why would you not say anything? Like, how are you not dying in pain? Yeah, but that's the grit that those kids had. Man. They were just, they didn't want to disappoint, and they were just like, whatever it takes, literally just a growth on your back. It's
it's fine. It's no big deal. Okay, finally, is there anything that America doesn't know about the lab that you guys want them to know?
What is?
I think that they might not know that there's a lot more members than the 15.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know, the family is actually pretty large. I think there's probably close to like 115 members.
Wow, that's
yeah.
a lot.
And I know it's kind of funny when you actually like break it down, but that there's a lot of love for the purpose of what we're doing and everything, and it's these 15 kids are definitely leaders of what we represent, and I just think that there's a lot more to come from what we do, and we're just excited about how much it's inspired so many kids at the studio to get involved and just believe that like things are possible. And they saw firsthand how these kids worked, and you know, they would stand on the sidelines or they'd watch their run-throughs and awe that like, man, that's my teammate up there giving it their all. So we had a ton of team members in the audience come and support them, and I just think that like like I said, they're the face of what we represent, and it goes a lot further than that now because of the courage they had to like take on this journey and really live it out the way they did.
That's amazing. Oh my, you guys are just amazing. I couldn't have asked for a better winner. You guys are so great.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Yes.
Where can we find you guys? Where can we find you on social?
Oh, personally?
Yeah.
Oh, you can find me at Little Sweets 2. That's LIL Sweets 2.
Okay, amazing, Logan.
At logistics_UGF, which is LOGISTX_UGF.
Love it.
At Valerie_Ramirez, and the labs is in the lab 247. That's it. Yeah, sorry.
Well, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, what a
Happy
great way to celebrate.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.